All right, hi everyone. Today we are going to look at our last part for rationals, which is solving rational equations. So there's two types we're going to look at. We're going to start with the first type, which is where you have one fraction on each side. This should look familiar to you because this is just a proportion, right? So you should remember how to solve a proportion. Pretty easy, I think, to do. So step one, we're just going to cross multiply. So you're going to go numerator to denominator. Make sure you put your parentheses in for here. Attach your terms together. And again, 10 times that x plus 2. Okay, so you're left with this equation that you can solve. So step 2, we're going to distribute on this side. So we get our 6x plus 4 over here. Again, distribute 10x plus 20. And then you just want to start moving stuff around. So I'm going to subtract 10x to combine on the other side. Negative 4x plus 4 equals 20. Subtract the 4. That's not negative, sorry. And divide to get your last step of negative 4. Now, with these, you do want to check your answers because you can get extraneous solutions. What you want to watch for is having a 0 in the denominator. You can kind of check quickly, but let's go ahead and do it so you can just see. So we're going to check negative 4. Does that equal 10? Oops, and so we're going to go ahead and simplify negative 2 on the bottom for that one, which is negative 1. See if this simplifies down to negative 1. Negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10. So that does equal negative 1. Oops, checks. So we're all good. All right, so that's our first type. Again, you have one fraction. You just simply take that numerator to denominator, and cross multiply. All right, let's go over our second type, which is when you have more than one fraction on a side. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is find that least common denominator for the whole fraction. Actually, you know what? I messed that up. That's supposed to be least common multiple. Wrong acronym there. Sorry. I'll fix that on your note sheet. All right, so least common multiple, when I look at the denominators, this one has an x and this one has a 2 and an x. So the least common multiple here is going to be 2x. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that least common multiple and you're going to multiply each fraction by it. So you're going to rewrite each one again. So what this is going to do is going to allow us to not actually have fractions. It's going to clear out those denominators and make it easier for you to solve. So what you're going to do is just look, okay? So we're going to clear out the denominators here. So when I do this to start with, the x and x will cancel. 2 and 2 will cancel, and x and x here will cancel, okay? So at this step, when you multiply it, at least everything should cancel in the denominators. You're going to be left, sometimes they may all cancel, but sometimes you're left with remaining factors. So like the 2 here still remaining. So this is where we're going to multiply anything left. So I'm going to do my 3 times 2, 5 times x, and then over here we have a negative 12 times 2. Oops, not what I meant to put. Multiplied by x, negative 24. And now we have an equation, pretty easy to solve. I'm going to subtract my 6. And you get your x is equal to negative 6. I'm going to take that again. We're going to do a quick check here, make sure it works. Always want to make sure we don't get an extraneous. Okay, over here is pretty easy. Negative 12 divided by negative 6, we get 2. I want to make these match. So I'm going to multiply by 3 so I can have my common denominator. So when I add these together, you get negative 12, over 6, which is, nope, sorry about that. You get a positive 12 divided by 6, which is 2. So they do match. We're in good shape. Okay. All right, we're going to do one more of those, and then you're going to try some on your own. Hopefully do okay with those. So again, we're going to start finding that least common multiple. So when I look at my two denominators, we're just going to multiply them together to find that. There's no other way, really. This one has an x, and then we have our x minus 4. So that has to be what we're going to multiply each fraction. So even if it doesn't have a denominator, you still have to multiply it. Every part has to be multiplied by that. That's why you're allowed to add it into the problem, because you're adding it to each piece, or by adding it and multiplying it in, I should say. So we're each one. And then again, we're going to clear the denominators. So if there is one, cancel. Now this one, there's nothing to cancel. Here, my x minus 4s and my x over here. Okay, now we're going to multiply each of the remaining factors out. So here again, we have to distribute that x. So we're going to get x squared minus 4x. Here we're going to multiply minus 2x. And then on the other side, I'm going to multiply by 4, both of these. So 4x minus 16. And you can see we have a quadratic for this one. Since it's a quadratic, we know how to solve quadratics. They're back, they never go away. We're going to set it to 0. And hopefully we can factor it. So I'm going to subtract 4x and then add 16. Oh, I did forget to combine these two, sorry. So let's do that, x squared minus 6x. Okay, is what that gives us. So I guess we can still just move that over. I didn't have to erase it. So we're going to subtract our 4x from here and add the 16x here. That's going to give me 0 on that side. All right, so let's combine these. So we get our x squared minus 10x plus 16. Okay, you could do the quadratic formula if you don't remember how to factor, but remember we draw our little x, a times c on top, 16, negative 10. Two numbers that multiply to 16, add to negative 10, negative 2, and negative 8. And again, because a is 1, we don't have to do anything else to factor it. You can just plop them in. So our two solutions are x equals 2 and x equals 8 when you bring those out. And again, you do want to check those. Go back to that original. I'm kind of squeezing it over here. So you get 1 minus 2 over 2. Does that equal 4 over 2? 4 over 2 is 2 over here. Oops, I meant to put a 4 there. That makes sense. Okay, just finish that out. I wrote this backwards, that's fine. So, there we go. All right, so it's going to give you negative 1. 1 minus negative 1 is 2, so that one checks. I'll check the 8 over here. Just give me a little space. This side simplifies down to 1/2. 1 minus 1/2. 8 minus 4 is 4. 2 divided by 4 is 1/2. 1 minus 1/2 is 1/2. So that one also checks. All right, there are 3 on the back that you can try, and then the answers are also posted on the note sheet, so you can check your answers for that for the rest of the assignment.